Well, Dave, no offence, but hopefully this is the last time you and I have to sit down this season. It all goes down to that final day. How are preparations going?
Yeah, good. As well as they could be. Still a few days out, but looking forward to the game. And ultimately, if we'd have been offered the opportunity to still have a crack at automatic promotion with one game to go, regardless of what happens elsewhere, then I think we'd have all been pretty pleased with where we currently sit. That is the case. So we've now got to go and take care of what we need to do.
A lot of the talk pre-match will obviously be about pressure, about teams holding the nerve. From your point of view, it's obviously not in your hands. What is the mindset going into Monday? Is it almost a free hit because ultimately you have two bites of the cherry, if you like?
The mindset's to win, and the mindset has been over the last 3 games. Like I say, I spoke to the players prior to those last 3 games. I said, listen, we have an opportunity here to pick up 9 points. If we pick up 9 points and we don't finish in the top 3, then we can maybe count ourselves unlucky, or we can look at it in a positive and say we've just won 3 games, pressure games at an important time of the season that gave us an opportunity to get promoted. That's exactly what we're going to have to do in a playoff campaign. So for me, it's win-win. Like I say, irrelevant of what goes on elsewhere. The only disappointment from our side potentially comes if we don't take care of what we do. So that will be our sole focus. As you would expect me to say, but it's the truth. We have to perform in a manner that we did last Saturday at Leyton Orient in order to give ourselves the best chance of getting a result. If that result's good enough, because results elsewhere mean that we finish in the top 3, great. If it's not, we've not lost anything. We'll move forward to a playoff campaign of 3 games, whoever that might be against, and try and earn ourselves a promotion through that route.
And how do you approach it on the day itself, you personally? Will you be wanting to keep up to date what's happening elsewhere, or will you just be focused on what's happening out on the pitch?
I don't think I'll have any choice than to know what's going on elsewhere, because if we've got 9,000 Stockport fans within the ground, I'm going to have a good idea as to what's going on elsewhere, because they're going to either be cheers or groans. Again, fundamentally, that makes no difference if we don't take care of our stuff and focus on what we need to do on the pitch over that 90 or 100 minutes against Hartlepool. So no, not too fussed. Like I say, I think it's one of them moments where probably as a sports fan, there will have been a point where something will have happened, an event through the night, and you'll have gone, I don't want to know what happened, I don't want to know what happened. The way things are, you're always going to find out, and I'm sure that'll be the case at the weekend.
You're obviously pushing for a 3rd straight promotion for yourself personally. It would be a 7th for your managerial career already, but you're first in the Football League. If you do go and achieve that now, be it on Monday, be it in the playoffs, where would that rank as an achievement? Right
at the very top. Like I say, I never look past how fortunate I am to have had the opportunities to achieve the things that I have. But as you say, I'm a fledgling in terms of a Football League manager. I'm probably maybe 60 games or so now. So maybe a little bit more, only a few more though. So I'm really young into this in terms of what I do. So the opportunity to get like say a promotion from a Football League club would be massive. And regardless of what level it's at, winning football matches and finish at the top of divisions is tough. It would be a brilliant achievement. It would be a massive achievement for the club, and something that we all would love to be part of. In saying that, it's not the be all and end all. This club will, with the investment and with the plan that Mark has in place, this club will get to where it wants to get to. You get so close, and you almost become a little bit edgy and a little bit jittery around it. You have to embrace the moments. We're all here for a reason. We all felt that this was something that we could achieve, and if it doesn't happen, then so be it. That you move on. But because it's so close, we all want to go and try and grab it.
And to be so close is all the more impressive when you consider the start of the season you had. I think it was 2 wins in the first 11. Was there a moment, was there a performance which you looked at and you thought, actually, yeah, this is on this season?
I always felt that, like I say, it was on, and people can believe or not believe, because I had trust in the group that we put together. And I suppose football nowadays is backed up by statistics. The one statistic for us that wasn't looking very well was a league table. And ultimately, I get that's what you're judged on. But if you look at breaking down those individual games in terms of goals that we should score and goals that we should have conceded, we were massively underachieving, and you hope that over the course of the season that will level itself out. The difficulty comes in the fact that have you given yourself too much to do too early in the season? And probably if you compare it to Leyton Orient, then you can look back now and say, yeah, we gave ourselves too much to do because of, for example, the start they had in the Champions with three games to spare. But what you've got to do is try and move on from things, whether in good moments and bad moments. I suppose I don't know what particular result it was that managed to turn things around. I think if you look back at certainly Harrogate game at Edgeley, the 0-0 was a real dour game, a game where two teams looked devoid of confidence and needed something. I thought we started that game really well for 10-15 minutes, didn't score, then all of a sudden went a little bit safe and it was a bad game. I think after that we won the next game. I'm not sure where it was. It might well have been at Salford or somewhere. Bradford. Yeah, we started putting wins together where people probably never seen that coming from a team perspective. That gave us a real boost. We'd had meetings here and spoke through things around what we needed to do collectively, individually, to try and turn things around. Like I say, for me, I've been really fortunate to not have been in that situation very often. I can remember once previously, and in that role, I wasn't given the opportunity to turn that around. I go back to my first year when we got promoted at Fylde into the National League. I think after 2 months, we were again just outside the bottom four. We'd drawn a lot of games. We finished that season in the playoffs and had an opportunity to get promoted. So you have to let things roll. Sometimes things don't always go perfectly. Unfortunately, in football and in football management, you can get people that are quick to judge and owners that are quick to make decisions that they think things need changing. Thankfully, from our perspective, everyone remained on a pretty sort of even keel in terms of where we were at. We had belief in what we've got as a group, in terms of management, in terms of players, in terms of facility and all them things, and things have gradually improved. League table has looked a whole lot more appetising, shall we say, and that builds confidence. And in this game, the whole day-to-day living of football is based around results. Whether you've won 10 games on the bounce, if you lose the 11th, you'll be grumpy. And that's just how football works. We all want to be winners. And lots of times, how your week runs is based on that winning feeling and based on confidence. And we've built that and got ourselves into a really good place. We've now got to go and take advantage of that.
Yeah, and you've done it in recent weeks, having had some injuries to some pretty big players as well. I remember speaking to you after the Wimbledon game and you saying at the time it felt like at that point Paddy and Woods were going to have to play every game because of how important they've become. But you fast forward to last Saturday, you go away to the champions, Tanto and Stretz up front and win 3-0. So how pleased are you with the way you've been able to adapt to those injuries? Yeah,
that's the big thing. And we are fortunate enough to have a budget that allows us to have a really competitive squad. And it's at these points where that importance really shines through, because I'd suggest in any other team in this division, if you take Wotton, Sarcevic, Rydell, Collar, Southam Hales, Oloafe, all them players out, it decimates them. I think because we've been able to invest in a deep squad and have real competition, now's when that importance is really, like I say, is really shining through, and we have to take advantage of that. Listen, without question, from a staff management scenario, we would want every one of them single players available, and our choices then become more and more difficult in terms of what we choose to go with. There's been a little bit where it's a little bit needs must at some points at the moment, but we're still in with a shot. So they're all things, like I say, that are out of our control. We've got injured players, so what? Not going to moan about it. Everyone has had the same thing at different times of the season, and if you haven't, you're very, very lucky, and you deserve that. From our side of things, like I say, one person's disappointment, I've said it becomes another person's opportunity. People are now grabbing them opportunities and maybe are giving us something to think about further down the line. We have to stay right in the current. The current is we're on a good run with one game to go, knowing that regardless, we have to win. And whoever pulls on them starting shirts, I won't say 1 to 11 because it's not 1 to 11, but them starting shirts has to go and carry the can for the rest of the group, be that the ones that are on the bench or be that the ones that are unfortunately not able to be out on the grass and are injured. Regardless, at the end of the season, any success we have or don't have, everyone will have played the part. Hopefully it's played the part in something that's really tangible and we can all remember for a long, long time.
And just on some of the names you mentioned there, Will Collar, Ryan Rydell, Tanto, any of them likely to be back for Monday?
I hope they're all back. I'd suggest that they're all, I keep saying this and probably getting proved wrong, they're all close. We would hope Tanto will be fine. Will and Ryan, very, very close. Going to be a matter of pain tolerance, if you like, whether either or both of them are involved. But what I will say is that, obviously, from our perspective, we hope that Monday's our last game. If it's not our last game, I think they'll be available for the game after that. But if I had to say that I don't want to see them play again this season, that would be a pretty good scenario to find ourselves in. Like I say, they're important to us, but I think, as you said, we showed last weekend going to Leyton Orient with the people we had out injured, that this squad is more than capable of competing with what we've got. And I'm really confident that'll be the case on Monday.
Just a word on your former side, obviously a twist of fate that we faced them on the last day. Relegated last weekend, we spoke about that. Do you expect to see a reaction from them this weekend now that pressure is almost off in a way?
Again, tough one. As with everything, I think there will be huge disappointment at the football club. There are some players there, only a handful that I've worked with and have experienced the promotion and the highs of that. They'll be really, really disappointed around what's happened this season. There's loads of different caveats. I think Sky being there and broadcasting the game. If you look at it from a selfish perspective, they said, well, I'm going to go and show what I can do on the TV and look after myself and try and get myself a deal elsewhere, whatever it might be. Their supporters will demand that they put in a performance. They'll travel in their numbers and support the team. And like I say, from my side of things, I hope that there are good times ahead for them and they can get themselves back into the Football League as early as possible. That won't take away from, like I say, from the memories I made there, and the people I met, the staff I worked with, and all those types of things. But we've got to, like I say, we've got to focus on us, and we'll expect to face the best version of them. And I know that I've said this before. If we put the best version of us out there, as showed last weekend against the champions, then we're a tough team to play against, and hopefully that'll be the case.
And if they do sell out their away allocation, they'll be close to 10,500 inside Edgeley Park on Monday. That would be the highest gate in 23 years. Obviously, you've got the fan display as well before kick-off, the Danny Bergara statue being unveiled as well. So with the game being televised as well, it just adds to the spectacle of what should be a special day regardless of what happens elsewhere.
Listen, it will be a special day, as you say, regardless of that, because again, in victory and disappointment, whatever it might be, because people look at it in different ways. From our perspective, this is our opportunity to go out in front of our home supporters, in front of another sellout, which has been absolutely amazing, and will give us the opportunity to say thank you to them after the game, regardless of what happens. And if there's the ultimate success for us, brilliant. If it means that we go into a playoff campaign, I think we'll end up in a situation where you'd imagine that the second leg would be at Edgeley Park, so there's another big game potentially coming up, and what happens after that is certainly there for everyone's imagination to look at and what that might bring. But like I say, our support this year, home and away, has been absolutely unbelievable. Sometimes you could take that for granted. We certainly don't. Like I say, I'd like to thank everyone who's turned up and backed us, especially, like I've said, with players. It's almost easy to go out and perform when things are going well and things are rosy. Maybe that in that early part of the season when there was that adversity, that's when we needed the supporters most, and in the main they stayed with us. And they're, I suppose reaping the rewards of that with some big games at the back end of the season that have huge jeopardy and huge consequence. But that's why we do it, and that will never change. So fingers crossed for a good day for us on Monday, and what that might bring. But if not, well, like I say, we'll look forward to another big effort and a second chance at getting promotion and becoming an AFL 1 club.
Absolutely, Dave. Thank you for your time.
Cheers, thank you.